welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Just a beautiful evening here in the Front Range of the Rockies. Hispanic Heritage Month being honored by the NFL, Football Americano. So Los Raiders, Los Broncos set to kick it off here in Denver. And it means the Raiders get Terrelle Pryor on the field. Its first primetime appearance really since 2011 Sugar Bowl when he was with Ohio State. In 33+ months. And Lisa Salters, tonight America gets to see Pryor's fourth NFL start.
Well, Terrelle Pryor may not have a lot of NFL experience, but he's certainly not lacking in self-confidence. Mike, remember yesterday he told us that he always believes that he is the best player out on the field. And as far as all of those read option quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, Robert Griffin, Pryor thinks that he's the best of them all. Not being cocky, he said, they're phenomenal. They've had more success than I have, but it's just the way I got to think. About going up against Peyton Manning tonight, Pryor told us that his grandmother sent him a voicemail yesterday telling him to think David and Goliath, not necessarily because it's me versus him, Pryor said, but it's a David and Goliath type of game because of the two teams. Nobody is giving us a chance, and that's okay, Pryor said, as long as we believe, just like David did, take down the big dog. That's what we're looking to do.
Well, he spoke confidently, Lisa, and people gravitate towards him. He's got that magnetic personality. Let's see how he does on the field. Crystal clear. The temperature's 67. It's going to feel like fall when the night's all said and done. It'll be in the upper 50s, and we have a northwest wind that could make those kicks go even deeper in the mile-high air. Well, the good news if you're a kicker is that the ball goes farther. The tough news if you're a kickoff return man like Jacoby Ford, who's made 4 house calls in his career, you don't get many chances to bring it back. In the opener on the first Thursday of the season against Baltimore, every Matt Prater kickoff was a touchback. These teams have known each other since 1960. Battling one more time, and it's Pryor and the Raiders on the field first. Oakland won the toss and will receive. Off we go from mile high. Maybe a chance to return one. A little bit into the wind, so Ford gets a return. Stopped shy of the 15, Adrian Robinson, the special teams tackle. So Lisa gave you all the background on Pryor making his 4th NFL start. Darren McFadden's had a good beginning to the season, 177 rushing yards in a couple of games. This is not a decorated receiving corps, but they'll have to, John, I guess, really do some surprise things to try to take advantage of Denver here tonight.
You're going to see it all, Mike. Wildcat formations, option football, shifts. And I expect the Denver defense to crowd these Raider receivers and force Terrelle Pryor to throw it.
On the 14, here is Pryor keeping and throwing on the run. The pass incomplete, intended for Marcel Reece, who's an outstanding receiver. Let's talk about this Denver Bronco defense. Given big leads, they've been strong and made plays late in the game. Of course, Elvis Dumervil is in Baltimore. Von Miller is suspended. So Wolf and Ayers off the end with the pass rush. 2 players, John, 59 Trevathan, 33 Dookie and Acho. Names who have come up the first 2 games for Denver.
No question, this is a very fast, not very big Denver defense.
After the incompletion, a run by Darren McFadden. He'll get just under 4 yards. Wesley Woodyard for the tackle. It's going to be 3rd and 6.
There's Darren McFadden. They need a big night from McFadden. He's had a lot of injury history throughout his career, coming off one of his big games, Mike, that he's had in a while last week against Jacksonville. But here on 3rd down is where the Denver defense is at its best. They led the National Football League on 3rd down percentages last year. This is where they want Terrelle Pryor.
And out of the gun against a 4-man rush. Pryor escaping and throws on the run incomplete. Trying to get it to Michael Rivera, the rookie tight end out of Tennessee. So 56 seconds, 3 and out. And the Raiders will punt it to the Broncos.
The defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio told us the #1 mission is get off the field immediately, get the ball back to Peyton Manning as many times as they can. Great start by the Denver defense.
Spectacular return man. Trindon Holliday, probably as hot as any return man in the NFL since he became a Bronco early last year. Marquette King is the first-year punter. He's replaced Shane Leckler, who's now a Houston Texan. Kicker travel 57. Here's Holliday sizing up, taking off. And the former track star, Holliday, out of bounds as he was working the sideline. They'll mark him back at the 45-yard line. Holliday giving excellent field position to Peyton Manning, the four-time league MVP, with this outstanding supporting cast, including Julius Thomas, who's in his third year, but his first impact year. Chris Clark, 75, replaces the all-pro tackle Ryan Clady, who's out for the year with a foot injury.
And he will have his hands full. He did take a lot of snaps in the preseason. He started a couple preseason games when Clady was hurt, but Lamar Houston, number 99, is going after him tonight.
So the return of 20, and Manning and company begin operation for the 45.
20.
Fake to Moreno. Manning dumps it. It's the tight end, Julius Thomas. Former basketball player, very limited football days. He gained 6. We have a penalty marker down, and Jerome Boger, the Super Bowl referee from this past February, in charge tonight.
Holding, offense, number 74, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
All right, that's Orlando Franklin, the right tackle, called for that hold. As we told you in Monday Night Countdown, all of these players were not a Raider last year, except for Lamar Houston, the defensive end. John Charles Woodson's back, and he's playing that safety spot for the Raiders. From the 35, it's 1st and 20. Moreno with a drop and incomplete.
Not a good start by the Denver offense. Obviously with the penalty and a drop pass, but here's Peyton Manning jumping the ball in a no-huddle offense. Watch Nick Roach, number 53, work with Peyton Manning.
Manning snaps it quick this time and fires on the move. It is Eric Decker gets the penalty yardage back, plus another 2 as Jason Hunter makes the tackle. It's 3rd and 8 coming.
Well, Manning jumps the ball. He goes quickly, and you have to be able to tackle these Denver receivers after they catch the football. That's where they do a lot of their damage.
Denver hopes to disguise and bring pressure and not let Manning get a beat on them. And Peyton wanted to see what they were doing. The chess game brings in offside. Free play Manning. Down the middle. Decker catches it at the 36-yard line. It's a first down, so they'll decline the flag.
Too deep, man-to-man underneath, and you're going to have your hands full covering Decker in the slot.
Offside. Defense, number 93. That penalty decline, the result of the play is the first down.
A lot of teams play too deep, man-to-man underneath, and when you have Eric Decker, a 6'3" slot receiver on a little stutter to the outside and back to the post, he's hard to stop. Great work.
Gain of 17. And from the 36, Moreno runs to the right for about 3 yards. So no Sean Moreno. They brought him in with the 12th overall pick in the 09 draft. And after the first couple of years, there were some questions about Noshawn Moreno. Also got into some trouble with DUI here in town. Fell out of favor. But has come in this year as a leader, has been a good player, and seeing the most action of the 3 running backs. That time he and Manning have their feet tangle on the handoff, and it limits the gain to just 2.
That's a nice job at the point of attack by Lamar Houston, the right defensive end. The lone holdover on this Raider defense, stuffing the tight end, getting off a block. You see Thomas, number 80. Good work.
3rd and 5. Now that's what happens. Pat Sims jumped in the neutral zone, and Manny Ramirez, the center, tried to react immediately to it. And that 5 yards will bring it very close to a first down if it's on the defense.
Encroachment. Defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty resulting in a first down.
Oakland is not good enough to commit penalties and make it easy on Peyton Manning. He's a master at the snap count, quick count, dummy count, hard count. You have to concentrate. That's a foolish penalty against a quarterback in an offense like this.
talking about Dennis Allen, the Raiders' second-year head coach. Youngest head coach in the NFL, turned 41 yesterday.
Hurry!
First down from the 26, and Manning has time, resets and fires on target. Denarius Thomas, first and goal, Denver at the 4.
Can't stop that. They have Denarius Thomas doubled. Manning comes out of the play-action pass, and he wants to throw a deep corner route. They've got him doubled. Hayden's underneath. Woodson's over the top. You can't stop perfection, and Manning has done it a long time.
Gain of 22, first and goal on the opening drive for Denver.
Hurry!
And that bunch formation to the right, just get it in the hands of Welker. Stopped by Woodson. After a gain of just 2, Charles Woodson, all those years with the Raiders, then the Packers, signed here as a free agent in the offseason.
He's not as young as he used to be, but he caps Welker off right here. That's impressive. Done it a long time. Charles Woodson, corner, nickel, safety. Put him out there. He'll make plays for you. Great work.
Second and goal from the 2. The hand signal's coming. Welker and Manning communicate. Fake to Marino, over the top, Decker. Denver, clinical. Opening drive, touchdown.
Play action, pass, ball handling. Almost impossible to stop in a goal line situation. You have to step up and stop this one-back power play. The left guard pulls, the linebacker step up. There's nobody covering Eric Decker. And as you said, Mike, that's a clinic by this Denver Bronco offense.
Matt Prater for the extra point. You know, you call him the sheriff. I might go with the surgeon. And that was just surgical. From snap count to perfect passes, 8 plays, 55 yards, and the first Bronco first quarter points of the 2013 season.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a 2014 GMC vehicle at gmc.com/NFL and NFL Mobile. Download today and never be without football. Call **NFL.
That is an awesome look at this place. Our aerial coverage tonight is brought to you by DirecTV. Sun just setting here on the front range of the Rockies. A little before 7 local time. Peyton Manning, the outstanding start to this season, continues in 8+ quarters, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. 5 of 6 on that drive. Line drive, kickoff by Prater. This is no return. And Terrelle Pryor and the Raiders will take over from the 20-yard line. See if this offense can find any rhythm and sustain. Find a way to keep number 18 in orange on the bench. It's a Raider team that scored 17 week 1 in Indianapolis and 19 at home against Jacksonville in their first victory of the season last Sunday, but not an offense made to come from very far behind. Oh, they're stopping the game for a second. There's a honoring some folks in the far end zone there during the commercial, and the people being honored and the color guard that were out there with them were not out there off the field. So now they got them out of position, and we're ready to go again. There are Pryor's numbers. He ran for 200, passed for 200, and ran for over 100 in that first game. In the 20, yet another whistle, and this one's going to be a false start penalty on the Raiders.
False start. Offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
These pre-snap penalties are killing the Oakland Raiders. And this offensive line, outside of Stephen Wisniewski, is totally rebuilt because of injuries. Tony Pashos, the right tackle, just got here. He wasn't even in football last year. They're on their 4th different left tackle since training camp started, and I've seen 3 different left guards. That'll be a problem in this noise.
Nix with the ankle injury last week, a no-go tonight. The veteran Andre Gerard starts at guard. First and 15 for Pryor. It's complete to Michael Rivera in just a yard as Danny Trevathan makes the tackle. This is a very inexperienced team, starting with Pryor. Great success at Ohio State. 31-4, 3 BCS bowl games, won a Rose Bowl, appeared in the Sugar Bowl his last game, and then the incident where he had the suspension for 5 games. So he had to go in the supplemental draft, as he didn't come back for that last year in Columbus. Was here really a non-impact person for the Raiders in that 2011 season when he was drafted in August, and 2012. But this year, they acquired Matt Flynn, who didn't win the job and lost it. That's why Pryor got the start week 1. In trouble here. Trying to escape, puts it up for grabs. It's caught by Rod Streeter and gets to the 22-yard line. So a near sack turns into a gain, John, of 6.
Excuse me, it never looks normal with Terrelle Pryor, but you're going to see McFadden get beat badly on blitz pickup against Robert Ayers, and Terrelle Pryor can get out of trouble and throw the ball from some incredibly awkward positions. This is all Terrelle Pryor. Raiders must block better than that.
He is a terrific athlete at 6'4" and 233. And that athletic ability is the survival skill for this offense right now. 3rd and 7, flushed again. Throwing complete for the first down to Rivera. So Michael Rivera moves the change. There's a marker down in the secondary. And it looks like the pass interference flag will be on the Broncos.
Pass interference. Offense.
Nope.
Number 81. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
That's the man who made the catch, Rivera.
Take a look at number 81 here. But here's the blitz. It's going to be a stunt, and they're going to contain Terrelle Pryor in the pocket. They're not going to let Pryor out of the pocket. Keep him in there and make him throw it. And that's an excellent job by Terrelle hanging in there. But let's take a look at the penalty, the push-off on Rivera. I don't know about that. Last week, Denver committed 8 penalties in their secondary. I don't know about that.
Wow. Is not the best flag I've seen thrown. It's 3rd and 17, and Jacoby Ford, the speedster, in the game for the Raiders. Pryor with time, throwing it down the middle. It's dropped. Tried to get it to Bryce Butler, the rookie out of San Diego State. 7th-round pick in this year's draft. Would have had a first down if he would have held on.
You know, if you're going to play a young quarterback, somebody needs to help him out. This ball's thrown with great touch, and if you're going to run routes in the middle of the field, you got to go up and catch the ball, bring it back to your body, and protect the catch. That's great work by Webster coming over the top. But Bryce Butler needs to make that play.
Here's Marquette King to punt for the 2nd time. Holiday awaits to make the fair catch. It's 50 on the nose, and the Broncos will take over at the 37-yard line. A couple of 3-and-outs forced by that Denver defense. Well, as you've undoubtedly heard, it's made national news. The terrible flooding just about a half hour away from here, north and west of downtown Denver. 7 fatalities, 60 still unaccounted for, 6,000 people evacuated from homes. The Broncos chipped in, helped be part of a telethon that raised over $1 million earlier this week. You can help. www.redcross.org/NFL. It has been a very difficult time for the people of this Metro Denver area, and hopefully for many of you who are watching affected tonight, this time away watching the Broncos just gives you a little bit of respite and normalcy. Broncos take over at their own 37 and play action Manning, a first down gain of 10, make it 11 to Eric Decker. This is the man calling the plays in Peyton Manning's headset, Adam Gase, the 35-year-old first-year offensive coordinator.
They've rebuilt this system. They're using a lot of different personnel groupings. Wes Welker's not even in the game right now. They're using 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, a lot of shifts and a completely different volume of plays.
20.
The 48, it is Moreno dancing back to the left side, only gets about 1.5 yards. Gase didn't play college football or the NFL. He's from Ypsilanti, Michigan. This is a guy, John, who knows he's got to get the play in quick, so Peyton has the maximum time to do what he does best at the line of scrimmage.
And Peyton's going to run the play that Gase gave him. Unless he doesn't like it, he'll fix it.
Now the pistol this pass is caught by the tight end Virgil Green, but knocked out by Mike Jenkins, the DB, and it becomes an incomplete pass.
I like Jenkins. I've always liked corners that will tackle and hit. And Mike Jenkins, the ex-Dallas Cowboy, has done a nice job of that throughout his career. He saw that coming the whole way. Nice job driving his shoulder right through the ball.
And a good call. Didn't get the 2 feet, then turn and make a football move with time to do so. So it's 3rd and 8. And Manning throws it quickly to Denarius Thomas. The Raiders were on it and bring down the big Thomas. And they force Denver to punt after 1 first down.
That was a pressure look by the Raider defense, and Peyton Manning audible to the quick screen, the same one Thomas took to the house a couple weeks ago against Denver. But watch Thomas. Quick screen, quick trigger by DJ Hayden, the rookie out of Houston, and he forces it back inside to a bevy of Oakland Raiders. Good defense.
That's their 1st-round pick. Playing in the nickel role for now. Britton Colquitt from the punting family of Colquitts. Brother Dustin, terrific kicker in this division for Kansas City. And a fair catch by Phillip Adams. And for the 3rd time, the Raiders will start from inside their own 15-yard line. Better job by the Raider defense on that 2nd drive. Denver swept the Raiders last year. The Raiders have won 15 more of the meetings with the Broncos over the years. This is the 106th time these teams have played. Terrelle Pryor and the Raiders drives the start at the 13, the 15, and now the 9. And McFadden gains less than a yard to the 10. So the challenge of Terrelle Pryor, who's learning on the job. How do you get him up to speed? That belongs to Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, who's been in that job, John, Detroit and St. Louis and Tampa, and worked with you over the years in Tampa Bay as well.
He's got to think outside the box. They're going to do a lot of different things because they have so many different players with different skill sets. But Olson has done, I think, a great job catering the offense to his young quarterback, Terrelle Pryor.
Youth, inexperience all over the offense. We saw that last drive. Here the Raiders go to the extra offensive lineman on 2nd and 9. They're trying to establish a run, work some clock. But Nate Irving and the Bronco defense having nothing of it. 3rd and long coming.
Yeah, this quarterback position is still an unsolved mystery in Oakland. They used the 1st and 2nd round draft choice to trade for Carson Palmer. Then they took Terrelle Pryor in the 3rd round in a supplemental pick. They traded a 5th round pick to Matt Flynn, and they gave him $6 million, and they took Tyler Wilson in the 4th round, and they cut him in this year's draft. So this is a very mysterious quarterback situation in Oakland.
Third and 10, and the Broncos again bring the twist and the rush. That pass will be shy of the 1st down to Denarius Moore as he stopped at the 15-yard line. And Tony Carter forces the 3rd consecutive 3-and-out by the Oakland offense.
A lot of strange looks from John Fox, but it's a simple slant pattern. Nice job by Denarius Moore crossing face. But when you come inside with a slant, you have to come in there with authority and break that tackle. Nice work by Clark. Filling in for Champ Bailey, Mike.
Champ Bailey out for the 3rd game, John, as he hasn't gotten his season started with a foot injury. Trindon Holiday, the return man, has incredible ability to cut and not lose speed. Here he is after a 52-yard punt. Good job just to get a hand on him by the Raiders to help force the tackle. It was a great play by the backup running back, Jameis Olawale, who hit Holiday, and a Bronco player shaken up. Have to look at Tony Carter as we step out. Couple of great share in the field tonight. Charles Woodson, Peyton Manning, 1-2 for the Heisman back some 15 and a half years ago now. Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning both go in the top 5 for that ensuing draft and got their hands and their fingerprints on the Lombardi Trophy with great individual accomplishments, as we know, over the years. And here they are going head-to-head. They have not done it very often, just the 5th time that Woodson and Manning go head-to-head here on the field. Woodson now back with the Raiders. As Manning starts from the 41-yard line, and the toss becomes a decent run out to midfield for Noshawn Moreno, with Kevin Burnett making the tackle.
Same play they scored on last week. You don't see a toss sweep with linemen pulling out of the shotgun and an offset back often, but nice job by Chris Clark, number 75, Zane Beadle, 68, pulling around the horn. Sets up a second and short. Great time to take a shot.
Yeah. Easy. Take Clark. 53. Right here. Hurry.
You saw Nick Roach's eyes. He's trying to watch and match Manning's moves as Peyton adjusts to this play. A gain for his new tight end. 14 yards. Julius Thomas and a first down as he's hit on the sideline.
Short yardage situations. When he sees a single safety, you can just bet with this supporting cast, Peyton Manning knows he's going to have some opportunities to throw the ball. The Raiders actually disguised and got back out of a single safety defense, but you can't fool Peyton Manning often.
Snap here from the 36. Moreno tries to cut it back. He only gained about 3 yards as Roach was there for the tackle, but a penalty marker down.
Holding. Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's Chris Clark, who's in for Ryan Clady, the All-Pro, who's done for the year. Clark taking over at the tackle spot. Jason Tarver is matching wits defensively, 39 years old, brings great passion and energy to the game, was on the Niners staff for a while, then was a co-coordinator at Stanford for 1 year before coming over to Oakland. That was second year with the Raiders.
That's why you coach defense, to measure yourself against the best.
The rookie Monte Ball is the running back next to Manning, who flips it out to Welker, and that was snuffed out very quickly. Loss of 2 yards on the play to Welker. Nick Roach is out there from his linebacker spot.
Yeah, Nick Roach, obscure player in Chicago, has become the signal caller and the leader of this Raider defense. Impressive every down performer so far for this Oakland Raider football team, Nick Roach.
So, John, let's talk for a second about what we're seeing here from this Oakland defense. We just showed you Jason Tarver. They're trying to use disguises on Manning so he doesn't get a good read on them. And Ball powers through to the 40-yard line with a gain of 7 yards for the rookie. So Peyton, who's the ultimate chess match guy, is seeing a chess match on the opposite side from Jason Tarver in the defense.
Well, you have to be able to do multiple things from the same exact look. And Coach Tarver is going to save some things for the second quarter and the third quarter. He's going to continue to mix up his defenses, because if Peyton gets a beat on you, it's over. But so far, they've mixed it up nicely.
Saw the Raiders doing a lot of moving right before the snap on earlier third down.
Here we go.
And once again, the Raiders fooled by the hard count. Lamar Houston. Broncos react to it, but this one's going to go against Denver for the false start.
I think this is a good call.
False start. Offense, number 12. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Andre Caldwell, the receiver on the outside, was the one who tried to react to the motion by Houston.
Sloppy first quarter. A lot of penalties on both sides.
Hey! 29, Mike! 29! He's down! He's down, Mike! Check service! Push left service before he's down! Right in third!
Raiders showing the three-man rush. So Manning changes the play and throws underneath and crossing. It's Thomas, who does so much damage on this route. But there's Woodson chasing him down. The ball comes out after the receiver Thomas is down. And it is no first down as Thomas is slow to get up.
Look, the Raiders are playing three safeties in a lot of situations. And this long yardage situations, watch Charles Woodson. He sees the ball thrown on a design block screen to Denarius Thomas. He sifts through the traffic, makes a good open field tackle. But Oakland's going to use these three safeties all night long to confuse Manning.
A 53-yard field goal attempt here at altitude from Matt Prater. Out of the hold of the punter, Colquitt, and able to knock it through with plenty of room to spare. 16 of 21 in his career from over 50 yards. Matt Prater, 10-0 Denver. On that third down yardage pickup, put it in range for Prater to knock it through, and the Broncos Up 10-0 here in the first quarter. Now, you saw on that third down play as Denarius Thomas was tackled by Woodson. He got his foot trapped underneath Charles, and he limped off to the locker room, or to the bench, I should say. Tony Carter, the corner, who was hurt on the last punt, has an ankle injury. He went to the locker room. His return is questionable. And now the Bronco medical staff, and Steve Antonopoulos, their outstanding longtime athletic trainer, all looking at the foot of this very valuable receiver, Denarius Thomas. No return on the kick by Prater, and the Raiders will start at the 20. Well, it's a good start for the Broncos defense throughout the year, but Von Miller is not here. I think you have heard the story of Miller. 4-game suspension for violating the league drug policy. And 2 games were added on, and some folks wondering why it was 6 games. Well, Chris Mortensen, Adam Schefter reporting earlier this weekend about the issues with the collection of the sample that was used. Perhaps a substitute sample used. It was flagged because it came from a different city, and it ended up being a 6-game suspension for Miller, who can return to the team before they play Indianapolis on October 20th. He's not allowed to be at the game sites, but he is allowed to be around the facility and working out. Keeper by Pryor. And the first down of the night for the Raiders, and a gain of 22, and that's what the Raiders need to do to sustain some offense.
Oh, I like that. They bring in Matt McCants, an extra offensive lineman. They make it look like they're going to run the ball to these 2 tight ends, but they run an option play to the left, and they catch Denver and fool number 56, Nate Irvin, badly. Good play selection. That was a tendency breaker. I have not seen the Raiders run that out of that personnel grouping.
Denver changes personnel as the Raiders stay with that extra offensive lineman look. And at the end of the quarter, it's a run for Darren McFadden. Gets a yard as the first comes to an end. After 1 in Colorado, 10-0 Broncos on Monday Night Football. Back in Denver with John Gruden and Lisa Salters, Mike Tirico, wrapping up week 3 of the 2013 season. And the most often played matchup in the history of Monday Night Football, Broncos and the Raiders. That man, Peyton Manning's played a season worth of games on Monday night. His Monday night record's 12-4. Terrelle Pryor's record as an NFL starter is 1-2. This is his 4th NFL start here tonight.
Couldn't find 2 quarterbacks that are any more different than the 2 here tonight. Keep an eye on number 12 at the bottom of the screen, Jacoby Ford. They always have a creative plan to get this speedster the football.
Here's McFadden on the run, and he gains about 1.5 yards. You know, John, we talked about Terrelle Pryor and his education and his maturation. And this is completely a work in progress, because going into the season, off season, their planning was not for Pryor to be the guy. This is change offenses on the fly.
It really is, and he's a hard guy to prepare for if you're the Denver Broncos, because Pryor's own coaches don't even know what he's going to do at the ball. It's really a work in progress. He has a long way to go, but he is surely athletic.
One of the bigger, better athletes, and self-confident, too. As he told Lisa and all of us the other night, I think I'm the best athlete on the field. Question is, does he have space to make plays? On 3rd down, his throw is high, but caught, held onto by Denarius Moore. That's a first down for the Broncos, and the first venture into for the Raiders, first time in Broncos territory.
That's good pass protection by this Raider offensive line. Rod Streeter clears out the deep zone, and there's an accurate throw, and Denarius Moore secures the catch for a first down. Nice work.
Not exactly household names for the receiving corps. Moore, Ford the speedster, Rod Streeter, undrafted second-year free agent, Bryce Butler, who had the drop earlier. Pryor moving, pointing, and throws sideline, incomplete, trying to get to McFadden. And Danny Trevathan kind of grabbed at his leg as he tried to cover McFadden on that far sideline.
And that's what Wesley Woodyard brings to the Denver defense. They have not had this kind of speed at the middle linebacker position in a long time. Watch Woodyard burst to Terrelle Pryor and force an incomplete pass. A lot of good things in this young Denver linebacking core. Woodyard, Trevathan, 2 ex-Kentucky Wildcats, and they play like Wildcats.
With the injury to Tony Carter, Kayvon Webster is the extra defensive back in for the Broncos, and nowhere for McFadden to go as the ball comes out. Whistle blew. The ball was ruled down as Wesley Woodyard came out of there with the ball.
You can get away with smaller linebackers if you have massive defensive tackles. And with Vickerson and Terrence Knighton, Woodyard and Trevathan are having great success.
Progress was stopped, and he was being pushed backwards. Third down.
And that was Knighton pulling it out, but you heard Jerome Boger say that his forward progress was stopped.
This great penetration by Terrence Knighton, the ex-Jacksonville Jaguar who came here to work with his old boss, Jack Del Rio.
The forward progress stopped. No challenge possibility there for John Fox because of the ruling on the field. Play clock was running down. The Raider sideline unhappy that the play clock was not reset to 25. And Dennis Allen and the offensive coordinator, Greg Olson, telling Boger that. And the back judge, Tony Steratore, he's watching the clock and the play clock and gives Boger the word.
Timeout, Oakland, was called prior to the play clock expiring. First charge, timeout, Oakland.
So they'll get the timeout a couple of minutes into this second quarter, facing 3rd and 12.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz and the all-new CLA, Navy Federal Credit Union. Visit us at NavyFederal.org and ESPNShop.com, where you can get all of your official NFL sideline gear.
Look at the smiling faces. This was yesterday over at the Broncos facility in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, which the NFL is celebrating. Vasquez and Ramirez, starting offensive linemen for the Broncos, and Anthony Munoz, the Hall of Fame lineman, all on hand as they got those 300 local kids, predominantly Hispanic kids, out there in a Play 60 character camp. Great stuff with two Broncos who are very proud of their Hispanic heritage, and one of the best of all time in Anthony Munoz as well.
In these long yardage situations, so far this Denver defense has used Trevathan and Woodyard to spy Terrelle Pryor. Watch them. Keep their eyes on number 6. If he scrambles, one of these two Wildcats has to flag him.
Third and 12, and Pryor steps in, and Rashad Jennings is hit hard by Kayvon Webster. And the gain of 1 forces 4th down.
Well, when somebody gets hurt, somebody must step up. Carter goes down, unfortunately, with an injury, and a rookie from South Florida makes an impact hit. But they are forcing Pryor to stay in the pocket. Nice zone defense by Webster, peeling back and making a vicious hit on Jennings.
Holiday goes back. John, I'm going to give your old kicker, Sebastian Janikowski, was just saying, hey, guys, it's 63 yards from here. I'd like to try one. Instead, It will be the 4th punt of the night for Marquette King. You don't need to help Peyton Manning with field position. And King can't kill it inside the 20, so the net is 25.
You know, watching Peyton Manning in practice the other day, his fundamentals still very important to him. I remember studying him coming out, his fundamentals, shuffling, working on his footwork, keeping the ball in a throwing position, getting it out quick. He's been doing these drills at Tennessee, at Indianapolis, and just the other day I saw him doing the same exact drill. The footwork, the pocket presence, the ball security. It's not part of the job. It's a priority part of the job, and nobody emphasizes it like Manning.
That's just great video over the years. Very unchanged, and it's the stuff you see on your TV week in, week out. Ronnie Hillman in as the back, trying to get Hillman some carries in this 3-back rotation, and he gains 7 yards.
It's a credit to Adam Gase to use all of his personnel. It's the 3rd running back we've seen carry the ball in a no-huddle offense. You have to credit all of these Broncos. They must have some smart football players.
2nd and 3, Manning pass complete. Denarius Thomas in the open field, hard to bring down, gets to the 39, 1st down.
Take a look at Manning's footwork in the pocket, out of the shotgun. Great ball fake. Good three-step rhythm. Look how his feet are alive. Surveying the field. Nice, accurate throw.
The 39 setting up the screen. And here goes Hillman into Raider territory at the 48 in another first down as Manning is 12 of 14 to start here tonight.
Screen pass. Trips formation. He pumps to the right, throws to the left. Eye manipulation against the Raider linebackers pays off, and nice work by Ramirez leading the screen.
49, Welker's turn. Gain of 8.
I mean, who do you stop? You stop Welker, you can't handle Thomas and Decker on the outside. You play too much coverage, they can hand the ball to one of 3 different backs. And if you don't substitute quickly enough, Peyton Manning will snap the ball and make you look bad. This is an offense that is in full rhythm right now.
Quick count, 2nd and short, and the run will be Moreno and should be a first down just inside the 39-yard line. Jason Hunter, who was a Bronco last year, makes the tackle.
Let's keep an eye on Nick Roach, number 53, the linebacker of the Raiders. In this Raiders system of defense, they have automatic blitz checks, different concepts that they want to get to based on their formation recognition. So when Roach sees the formation, he's going to communicate to his teammates the front and the coverage and the potential blitz.
John, it was initially signaled a first down against Roach in this Raider defense, but after a second look, they're going to come out and measure. So they'll come back out for the measurement here. John Fox is wondering, you signal first down, what are we doing here?
Well, Coach Fox looks good. He looks good. We saw him on the practice field the other day. We had a lot of battles, Coach Fox and I, in the old NFC South. He looks 10 years younger. I said, does any of this have to do with number 18? I said, you get Peyton Manning one year, Wes Welker the next. What are you going to do in the offseason this year?
Foxy's 58 years old. He looks 7-8 years younger than that 2-14 last season in Carolina. Did a terrific job during his time with the Panthers. His 9 years took them to the Super Bowl. Run by Moreno. And John, Fox was talking about, you know, you observe Peyton Manning from afar and you hear it every day, what he does for everybody else. But he said it's more off the charts than I thought it was. Yeah. How he's truly a coach for the offense and how the entire vibe of the building changes with what this man does day in, day out.
He says you think you know, but you really don't know.
It's 2nd and 6. Decker's down here at the bottom saying, look at me. Underneath, he cleared space for Welker to the 22. Wes Welker first down, Denver.
Well, he takes 15 seconds to read the defense. He sees bump and run in the slot with a single safety, and he just audibles to a double slant. This is what Wes Welker is better than anyone in the world at. Success in the slot. They give him a lot of two-way goes, and he uses that quickness to dominate inside.
There's a run with Hillman inside the red zone, gets to the 17-yard line. Tracy Porter with the tackle. Porter's the man who intercepted Manning in the Super Bowl. And it was some of the New Orleans concepts used in that game for success by Porter. With Dennis Allen, the secondary coach of the Saints in that Super Bowl, now the head coach of the Raiders.
If you have any chance to beat Denver, you must keep them out of the end zone when they get into the scoring zone. Priority here for the Raider defense.
Hillman able to turn the edge. You get a first down at the 12-yard line. The Broncos have 11 first downs. The Raiders have run 16 plays.
Well, when Manning sees 2 deep safeties, he wants to run the football, and you have to credit his patience. If you're going to play a lot of loose coverage, he's more than willing to hand the ball to one of these 3 talented backs. And that's a key part of his recognition, the 2 safeties and how they rotate. See the safeties at the top of the screen. They're going to give Peyton Manning a pretty good indication of what the coverage is.
On 1st and 10, here is Manning, end zone. Touchdown, Welker.
Well, that time there's no reroute on Welker whatsoever, and he splits Charles Woodson and Tracy Porter, and he slices them pretty good. No reroute whatsoever. A great stick to the outside, and he beat Charles Woodson bad to the post. But when Manning sees that double zone, he is either going to run the football or they're going to give you some of the best two-deep zone beaters that exist in pro football. You can't execute any better, Mike.
Prater adds the extra point. 10 quarters, 11 touchdown passes for Peyton Manning to start the season. 4 of them to Wes Welker, capping off another sensational drive. Well, we mentioned 10 quarters, 11 touchdown passes. It now ties Tom Brady for the most touchdown passes in the first 3 games of a season. And we have 2.5 quarters to go in this one.
I don't know if we threw 11 in a season when I was coaching. It's hard to imagine having this kind of success with a new offensive coordinator, but the addition of Wes Welker, the emergence of Julius Thomas, there are just so many weapons.
That was wide right. Prater missed the goalpost, but there's no return, and the Raiders again will take over at their own 20. Wes Welker caught the touchdown pass, the beneficiary of the good work by Peyton Manning on that drive. The old stadium was right adjacent to here. Mile High was there for 41 years. 2001, what's now known as Sports Authority Field at Mile High opened up. Doesn't shake and rock like the old place, but it's not too bad. The noise is still super loud here. Pryor with the throw on 1st down, and it's complete to Marcel Reece. It's a very important part of this Raider offense. Reece, a good pass catcher out of the backfield, goes back to his college days.
This Duke Ihenacho, 2nd-year man out of San Jose State. You're going to see a bootleg cross the formation. Reece is going to slide across the backfield. And number 33, Ihenacho, is going to come down from the top of the screen and make another tackle. He leads the Broncos in tackles. He's an impact player. Not a lot of people know about him.
Wildcat as McFadden hands it to Ford, getting the speedster on the edge with a little jet sweep. So Darren McFadden, who ran some Wildcat during his successful days at Arkansas, able to take it there and hand it to the other speedster, Ford.
They're going to read the backside. McFadden is going to read the backside defensive end. And if he takes away the keep, he's going to hand it to Ford. Remember, Tony Sperano is the offensive line coach of these Oakland Raiders, and there's a lot of history with the Wildcat. I'm sure you'll see it again later.
Third and 3. Pryor escapes and fires complete for the 1st down, and turning and going to Denarius Moore. He's gone. Moore for the touchdown.
That's what this Raider football team needs. Denarius Moore to dial long distance. That time he breaks the tackle. Cromartie, number 45 in coverage, and Ihenacho can't cap off, and Denarius Moore is to the house. But an excellent job squaring this off flat. And it's a poor break by Ihenacho, the man I just talked about.
Cromartie took out Ihenacho trying to make the tackle. Tremendous speed by the 3rd-round pick, Kayvon Webster, running down to try and catch Moore, who takes it all the way. Now the question is, was his knee down? Where's the ball? It is confirmed from upstairs as all scores are looked at. Confirmation was given that it is a good touchdown. And Sebastian Janikowski, the all-time leading Raider scorer, adds the extra point. So a much-needed bolt for the Raiders. They had 60 yards on their first 18 plays, but 73 on that touchdown. Much needed stay in the game score for a Raider team that is known losing almost unlike any other team in the NFL for the last decade. Since we went to the Super Bowl, there have been 7 different men who have tried. The instability has been part of the story at the 2 most important spots, the head coach and the quarterback position. And they have just had, I mean, this is like the Hollywood Squares. The names, the faces. Peter, I'll take Andrew Walter to block. Culpepper, Brooks, Tuiasosopo, Palmer, Bowler, Jamarcus Russell, you name it, and they've all been there. And it's all been the hopes, and nothing. Terrelle Pryor now with his latest turn at the wheel as they try to develop him on the run here and able to hit the longest touchdown pass in 2 seasons on that last play for the Raiders score.
Well, we know he's a great athlete, but he just made an NFL throw from the pocket. That has to make head coach Dennis Allen very happy. Now, if he can get a stop from his defense, we might have a football game.
Sebastian Janikowski kicks it out of the end zone. Touchback. Peyton Manning and the Broncos will start from the 20.
So you have to be able to stand in the pocket. You're going to see the rush coming off his left side. But watch Terrelle, 2 hands on the ball, push up in the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, and throw a strike. And that's really good to see. Pryor's got to keep both hands on that ball, but he didn't abort it and start running. He hung in the pocket, made an excellent throw on 3rd down, and Denarius Moore did the rest. I like to see that development.
Now see if the Raider defense can piggyback upon that.
Apple, 94's Mike. Ram. 94's Mike. Hurry.
And on play action and 1st down, Manning with pressure coming, throws, and it's caught. Turning it upfield is Decker. Great cut by Decker. What a terrific post-catch run by Eric Decker inside the 20-yard line. 61 yards.
That's just sensational. Pickup by Moreno. No-shot Moreno picks up the blitz. Decker beats Jenkins on a comeback, and the ball is thrown right out of the break in the only place you can throw it. And don't forget, Decker had 13 touchdowns last year, and he's 6'3", 220 pounds. He and Denarius Thomas are beasts on the outside.
Easy. Mike's Mike.
Go inside the red zone right away. And Manning is flushed, chased, and throws it complete to Denarius Thomas. Tracy Porter trying to pull at the ball as Porter and DJ Hayden combine on the tackle.
Functional mobility. Manning doesn't move around very well, but he's the hardest guy in football to sack. This time Jason Hunter coming from the blind side finally takes Manning to the ground. It's critical that the Raiders knock Peyton off the spot. That's the first time I've seen him do it.
The first time he has been hit tonight. 2nd and 4. Moreno is stopped by Lamar Houston. The only holdover on that defense. You know, Jason Tarver and the Raiders staff were telling us all the important things. You got to win the turnover battle, try to beat Peyton Manning. You've got to keep the ball out of his hands, time of possession. But red zone defense, can you stop him from 7s every once in a while?
Yeah, that's what everybody says, but it's hard to do. You've got to mix up your coverages. You have to have somebody deliver a pass rush. And here, Peyton's in a no-back set. This is where he threw the touchdown to Welker the last time.
And on 3rd and 4, the 2-side route is worked to the end zone with Julius Thomas for the touchdown.
And Charles Woodson's just shaking his head. Manning saw that slot blitz by Charles Woodson all the way. Woodson comes off the weak side. Thomas is the hot receiver. He wins in one-on-one situation against Burnett. That's as good as it gets. Recognizing the coverage is one thing, but recognizing the blitz packages is another. And every week I see the best coaches in football try to fool them. No one can do it.
Touchdown pass number 12 here in the first 2.5 games. Prater makes it 24-7. We sat down with Peyton and talked about life as he gets older here, now at 37. What still drives him at this point in his career?
when you watch a game, just trying to get something out of each play, studying the defense, maybe stealing a play from the New England Patriots or the New Orleans Saints. Hey, we can put that little wrinkle in there. Just always kind of, staying stimulated. I've heard those conversations of those players that say, the football, the playing was fun, but the meetings got so dull and the walkthroughs, they got so boring, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I could see that if there was just monotony and, like you said, the same exact system and surroundings. But I've had enough change here in these past 2 years. Although difficult, a major adjustment and an uncomfortable adjustment, it does provide that stimulation and that variety to keep you kind of on your toes, which I enjoy.
It was interesting, John, because the framing of the conversation, I was talking to Peyton about Brett Favre. I remember the end of the Favre days, and Brett said it's the same offense, it's the same installation year after year after year, because the system followed Favre, Green Bay, Jets, Minnesota at the end. And he said, I just love the games. Just wanted to get to the games, Brett was saying. But Peyton loves every step of the process, and you can see how he still thrives given that. No return available on the touchback. This is kind of right up your alley, because I know from the 5 years of working with you, it's what can I learn? What can I take from these people? Expand your knowledge. And he's the same thing every single snap he's a part of.
Yeah, and if you see him practice behind the scenes, it's important that he plays great. And he knows for him to play great, you have to play great. Yep. And so do these other players. And he's willing to spend the time working with all of these players behind the scenes. It's an amazing amount of work ethic. And he's got 2 quality control coaches, 2 backup quarterbacks, an offensive coordinator, and a quarterback coach that all bring him information. And if he doesn't get it from him, he's not happy about it.
It's the throw to Marcel Reece on the edge by Pryor. He gains a half dozen. There's a flag down. And over there where they were trying to block and clear space for Reece.
Holding. Offense, number 81. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
And, John, your point to that, we're at practice on Saturday, and the practice is broken up for those of you who don't follow football's work during the week in different periods of time. And now the special teams is their time. So they're out there working and practicing, and this group is all being put together to try to get things in line for Peyton week in, week out.
Yeah, the top 2 guys are quality control guys. They help him. The bottom 2 are the backup quarterbacks. They bring him a different set of information, and they make sure that they help him get as much knowledge as possible. It's an amazing process. They meet on the player's day off at 3:30, and they preview the next opponent. Those 2 quality control guys, Callahan and Jim Bob Cooter. And then they go over protection issues. He walks in there Wednesday. He knows more about the Oakland Raiders than you and I do, and we've been studying for 2 weeks.
Wednesday's the start of the work week. And those 2 quality control, they're like what graduate assistants are in college football. They are coaches in training, so to speak. And it's all part of the team that helps Peyton Manning get ready week in, week out. Pryor on the move. Pass Woodyard. Look at that extraordinary athlete Pryor. Worked the sideline out of bounds. Marked at the 23, so it'll be 3rd and 7 with 2.5 left in the half.
Head coach Dennis Allen was at Atlanta with Michael Vick. He was the defensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos with Tim Tebow, and now he has Terrelle Pryor. So he's seen 3 quarterbacks that can run around, run the option, and he will tell you himself that Pryor is very much like Michael Vick as a runner, not quite as polished as a passer, but man, is this guy athletic.
This play should happen before the 2-minute warning. Third and 7. That screen from McFadden is taken away, and Pryor just has to go down. They're doing a great job, Denver is, John, of not letting Pryor scramble. They're spying him, containing him, shutting him down. 24-7 inside of 2. Well, we talked to you earlier about the recent flooding here in Colorado. Less than a half hour from here. So many towns, homes, lives damaged, destroyed. This is the Coal Creek area of Jefferson County, just south of Boulder. You can help. Log on to www.redcross.org/NFL. 60 still unaccounted. 6,000 evacuated from their homes, and there have been great signs and show of support very resilient and proud Coloradans, and the fires that they had last year and now the floods this year, and it has been a statewide effort to help create national attention and help in the relief efforts for the very good people of this state. Trinidad Holiday back, 4th down. Broncos bring some extra players to the line, perhaps put some pressure on Marquette King. His 5th punt of the night. Holiday says stay away, and King's punt will be 45 yards. Broncos have it at the 38.
Let's see how Peyton Manning read that last blitz on the touchdown. He saw Charles Woodson stacked by Kevin Burnett, so he knew Burnett was covering Thomas. He knew Woodson was coming. He just stood right in there and threw a strike out there and said Thomas will beat you one-on-one. But not many quarterbacks can see it all the time. I've had guys that were really good that could see it most of the time, but very rarely does Manning miss a blitz. Let's see if Oakland can dial up something from this game plan to stop this offense. They've really been impressive.
Apple.
5 drives, 4 scores for the Broncos here tonight. Noshawn Moreno pushed to the sideline by DJ Hayden, and a gain of about 4 yards. Broncos have all 3 timeouts.
Well, DJ Hayden's an interesting guy. This year's 1st-round draft choice. We all know he's got an injury history, but they need DJ Hayden to be more physical in press coverage. Get up there and fight these big Denver receivers.
Had a near fatal accident in practice in College of Houston last November. He still worked out pre-draft, drafted in the 1st round. Here is Welker in open space, slides down at the 37-yard line. It's a 1st down.
Well, if there's one man you don't want to blow a coverage against, that would probably be the one. 2 defenders run into each other. 4 levels of defense. Crossing routes against man-to-man. Big part of this offense.
Number 37, Manning. With a tight spot and window to Decker. 1st down with 1:10 left and all their timeouts, and the Broncos in complete control.
I mean, it's like 7-on-7. And credit left tackle Chris Clark, who's making his 1st start tonight, replacing the great Ryan Clady. He's had no problems.
Moreno gets to the 23-yard line, and Denver will take the 1st of its 3 timeouts with 48 seconds left here in this 1st half. Chance to remind you that Toyota Halftime's coming up at the break. Trey Wingo in the studio. We'll have the Sunday soundtracks listen in as Russell Wilson and company continue to roll. The Gruden Grinders from Sunday. John scouring every game to come up with his Gruden Grinders, and the latest on Aldon Smith and the troubles for the very talented young defensive impact player for San Francisco. All coming up on the Toyota Halftime.
I go back to this left tackle, Chris Clark. A lot of backups don't really want to go out there and play sometimes, but Chris Clark couldn't wait for this opportunity.
Came off of Minnesota's practice squad. Has been with the Broncos for a couple of years now. Moreno out of the backfield, taken down in the open field by Mike Jenkins. 40 seconds on the turning clock, and 3rd and a yard.
Plenty of time to run it one more time in this short yardage situation.
A little movement there on the left side. And it was Zane Beatles, the left guard, who moved first.
That's a bad penalty in a short yardage situation.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
This is where you put an exclamation point on an excellent 1st half.
Chosen to take a timeout.
Yeah, it was a running clock, so the false start.
Timeout, Denver.
False start with the running clock is a 10-second runoff, but John Fox immediately told Jerome Boger, I'm going to take the timeout here, and that preserves the 10-second runoff. So it's going to be 3rd and 6 now with 30 seconds and 1 timeout left. Talk about some ball distribution tonight, John. 6, 5, and 6 for Decker, Thomas, and Welker. That's a game's worth of catches in one half, and throwing Julius Thomas, the tight end, former basketball player at Portland State. 3rd and 6. Manning has hit his last 15 passes.
PP.
Pressure up the middle from Nick Roach. He gets to Manning, who gets away and throws it incomplete. It was Kevin Burnett on the coverage of the pass intended for Julius Thomas, and Denver will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
That time it was a great disguise by the Raider defense. And they do get pressure right up the middle, as you said, from Nick Roach.
He beat Manny Ramirez, the center there, and just forced the timing off a bit. So a 41-yard field goal attempt for Prater. Knocked in a 53-yarder in the first quarter. And Prater makes it 27-7. It's been just a great offensive first half, I should say, for the Broncos. Over 300 yards, and Wes Welker, a part of it, 6 catches, as you see, for the 52 yards. Well, John, we watched Wes Welker, over 100 receptions, 5 of the last 6 years. Let's get a little different look at Wes Welker and some of his route running and the things he works on day in, day out in practice.
Well, he's been working with Peyton Manning since he got signed, and he can carry it over from the practice field to the game field. He and Peyton Manning can read each other's body mechanics very well for not having worked together for a long time, but you have to credit the amount of work that these two great veterans put in behind the scenes. I just see him getting better and better every week, and the interaction between these players, there's no ego, there's no jealousy. Welker knows he's got Denarius Thomas and Eric Decker outside. He knows the tight end deserves to catch it. He knows if I don't run my route exactly the way Peyton Manning wants it run, he ain't throwing it to me. And it's really a credit to these Bronco receivers for being unselfish. Hope that continues.
That's what we saw at practice on Saturday when the special teams group was out there working kickoffs. Those two went over to the other practice field and continued to work on timing and read. What do you see? How am I seeing it? As they try to fast forward the relationship here. 19 seconds, 2 timeouts, and the Raiders take over from their own 20, and that's been the best Raiders starting field position that they've had here in this first half.
And I expect Oakland to take a knee in this field position. Not enough time to do much. Pryor has moved the ball a little bit the last 2 series. Obviously the big strike to Denarius Moore, but this Raider defense has been carved up over 300 yards in the first half, and Dennis Allen's got to make some adjustments quickly.
Broncos have scored 117 points in the first 10 quarters of the season. Will throw a screen to Rashad Jennings, and Jennings goes to the 34-yard line, and they will take a timeout here with 11 seconds left. So again, you have Sebastian Janikowski over there, and your field goal range is different with Janikowski, and it's different with Janikowski in Denver. If you can get to the 45-yard line, so get another 21 yards, you take a shot at 63. Remember, Janikowski tied the NFL record 63 yards here on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, he used to torment me when I coached him. Right? He came down here when he was a rookie. Him and Leckler, they wanted to check this altitude out. Yeah. So we had no balls to play catch with because Janikowski and Leckler were trying to see if they could knock him out of the stadium. They were kicking balls up into the 3rd row of the rafters. Those two, they tormented me. But they will give Janikowski a shot at a 70-yard bomb if they can get one more completion.
And Janikowski has long talked about wanting a chance to set the NFL record. Here is a Pryor throw down the middle. It's caught at midfield, and the timeout taken as Bryce Butler gets the grab here with 5 seconds left. And from here, it would be 68 yards. I think you probably need another couple of yards, but let's see. 5 seconds left. Janikowski's going to negotiate it, trying to get the shot at it.
He's never missed a kick on Monday Night Football. I'm telling you, Mike, he's 16 for 16 on Monday Night Football. And you've seen it done, Mike. You've seen him do it.
There is that record. Second game of the Monday Night Football doubleheader, week 1 a couple of years ago. Janikowski 63 yards. It's been done 4 times in NFL history. Twice here at altitude, Jason Elam and Janikowski.
They got a new holder, though. Shane Leckler held for him for 13 years. Let's see.
Nope.
Well, they're not even going to kick it. They're going to send their offense out, I'm sure, to Janikowski's dismay.
If they had a couple of seconds to get 5 more yards, probably take a shot at it. Instead, it will be barring a defensive foul the last play of the half. And Pryor is sacked back at the 39-yard line. And Manning and the Bronco offense off the 319-yard performance. They'll get the ball to start the third quarter. 27-7 here, and here's Trey Wingo with the Toyota halftime. Number 3, dominant first half performance by Peyton Manning and the Broncos. They get the ball first. They lead 27-7. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters on the sideline. It was the precision, the work that you don't see all week, but have seen a lot of in the first 10 quarters of the season for the Broncos.
Yeah, it's been tremendous, and it's been in the running game, it's been in the passing game, it's been managing protections, and it's also been ball handling. How about this? First touchdown, he fooled the whole Raider defense, and Decker's wide open. Then he audibles to a play against 2 deep zone, and Welker shreds. No one touches him. Then he read the blitz. Woodson coming off the corner, and Julius Thomas walks in. Rarely do you see 3 walk-in touchdowns, especially in a half. But if you did, you'd probably think he'd be behind it because he's playing as good as he's ever played. It's hard to believe that some players continue to get better. He'll be 37 years old right around Super Bowl time. He and John Elway have a lot of similarities. They're saving their best for last.
Saw John in the hallway out here now. Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the Broncos, the legendary franchise quarterback, and it was just those great teeth of John Elway and that big smile. Said it must be a joy to watch that, and he said absolutely. It's a short kick as they try to keep it from Holiday and brought back to the 24-yard line. And here's Lisa Salters.
Well, Mike, Dennis Allen said this game was going to be like a chess match. I asked him what didn't go right for you defensively in that first half, and he said our defense was just on the field for way too many plays, and we have to play much better in the red zone. On the other side of the ball, I asked him, how do you generate some more offense? And he said, we just got to get something going, got to be able to run the ball, pass the ball more effectively. Right now, he said, we're just not doing much of anything right. Mike?
Yeah. Not ready for primetime performance so far. Mitch Unrein, the defensive lineman, who's back there to block, did a nice job catching the ball and advancing it. So the Broncos take over from the 24, and Noshawn Moreno is strung out and stopped for no gain.
And I've said this, Mike, for the last couple weeks. Denver comes out to start the third quarter with different personnel groupings. There's 3 tight ends and only 1 receiver. We call that 13 personnel, but that's the first time I've seen that. It's uncommon with Peyton Manning, especially early in the third quarter. When they go to that grouping, they put Decker and Welker on the sidelines.
Keep a couple of tight ends out there, but spread everybody out. With 2 tight ends, a couple of receivers, and underneath, it's caught by Thomas for the first down. So, John, when you say it's uncommon, we go back. In the first half, they ran so much 1 back, 1 tight end. But this gives you a completely different look to your offense to start a new half.
Yeah, Oakland goes into the locker room at halftime. They're making all their adjustments based on what happened in the first half. Denver comes out to start the third quarter in a completely different personnel grouping, and it allows them to create more formations, different plays, different protections. It's a whole new offense.
And again, Virgil Green, 85, Jacob Tammy, 84. Join Julius Thomas, and those tight ends blocking now for Moreno. He takes it to the 38. It wasn't whistled down. That's why Moreno said maybe I was just lying across other bodies and could keep running. But he's down.
I told John Fox, I said, you know, every time you hand the ball off, no disrespect to Moreno or Hillman or any of your backs, I just sigh. I want to see passes on every single play. And he goes, I know it's hard. They're so successful throwing the football. it's hard to get any kind of rhythm running it, but clearly that's a goal of Denver.
On 2nd and 6, underneath, here comes Thomas. He has taken that several times for deep catches and runs, and there gets to Raider territory.
Well, it's a common slot combination you've seen for 15 years. It's an under route with Jacob Tamme clearing out the inside, and Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne have done it for years, and now you're seeing Denarius Thomas and Decker benefit from that pattern.
After the 49, here is Jacob Tamme. He gains about 4 yards. You remember a season Dallas Clark got injured the 2010 season, and Tamme came on and made 67 catches. Caught 52 balls last year as he came out here to join Manning.
Once again, 3 tight ends at the bottom of the screen. And if they don't load up to stop the run, he'll continue to hand the ball off.
And it's an up-the-middle run for Ronnie Hillman for the first down, John, with 39.
And that's what Orlando Franklin, that's what this offensive lineman want. You want to play pass defense, we're going to run the ball right behind a double team, and we will smash a good back to daylight. Nobody expected Denver to come out and start the third quarter with 3 tight ends, 1 back and only 1 wideout.
Manning lost the ball coming back from center and will lose 2 yards. That is a rare ball handling error with the center and the quarterback for a Manning team.
Looked like he pulled out there a little quick.
Yep.
So many different ball handling maneuvers in this offense, from the shotgun underneath the center.
Refreshing to know that he actually is human.
Bottom of the screen, you see a linebacker in coverage. I'd be shocked if you don't see something happen at the bottom of the screen.
Ronnie Hillman is that back. Manning goes underneath. It's caught by Denarius Thomas at the 34-yard line.
All these personnel groupings, they're all designed to get Peyton Manning a pre-snap look. He knew it was man-to-man coverage. As soon as the linebacker went outside to cover the back, he finds that one-on-one matchup, and he continues to shred. 25 for 28, Mike, and almost 300 yards.
Now we switch personnel for the Broncos, and they bring in the receivers here. It's exhausting just to watch. Thomas underneath, first down to the 26-yard line.
It's every single snap. It's relentless work. I mean, he's going to throw an under route, and they're going to use a triple runoff to try to generate a pick on Mike Jenkins, who's in coverage, and there's nobody to cover Denarius Thomas. But it's over and over again. He's feverishly studying this defense, and he has so much skill. They even brought a new receiver in. You see Andre Caldwell, he says, give me something. I need a catch.
You got to remember so much as one of the players in this offense. Woodson with the tackle on the run by Noshawn Marino. Kevin Burnett joining Woodson. So this is what, 10 quarters in a drive for Peyton Manning, and these are the numbers. Throwing for 100 yards a quarter and averaging over a touchdown.
And look at the clock. It's about winning football. You run to win, and that clock is already ticking toward the 9-minute mark. That's how you close teams out, with a strong running game.
Louisiana, Poker outside. Poker. Hurry.
The blitz comes. Manning up top. Welker almost pulled in the circus catch. Incomplete. Tracy Porter, step for step, gave Welker no room to look back at the ball.
Well, they have about 100 different slot combinations they can get to. That time he read the blitz, and it's going to be a high fade by Wes Welker. He's going to look for the ball over his inside shoulder. Little bit more air on that ball, and I still think Welker should have played it. I've seen him make tougher catches than that.
At the 4th incompletion of the night for Manning.
Yeah.
Manning fires. Incomplete as he tried to get it to Denarius Thomas. And it was broken up by Brandon Ross. That's the safety starting for the injured Tyvon Branch.
Brandon Ross, the ex-Green Bay Packer, shows very good lateral range coming from his safety position. Ross was trained as a corner, moved to safety, played a lot of different positions.
And they missed helmet-to-helmet contact on Ross, on Thomas. No flag, which the fans and the Broncos sideline point out to the officials. Doesn't mean that there won't be a fine coming. It is a 40-yard field goal attempt now for Prater. That's 3 for 3 for Prater. 51-41, and now 40 yards. 30-7, the Broncos lead.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. Goodyear, chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. And NFLShop.com. Get free shipping today at the official store of the NFL.
From the capital city of Colorado, our aerial coverage tonight is brought to you by DirecTV. 61 degrees on this first full day of fall. Way on up by Keystone and some of the ski resorts. The very, very top of the mountains. Little bit of a dusting of snow overnight. So the great ski season around the corner here in this beautiful area. That one's through the uprights and good on the Prater kickoff. So Terrelle Pryor, the Raiders offense, try to find something to get going here in the second half. Down 30-7. It's a Raider team that has won just 2 of its last 11 regular season games. Poor finish last season. 4-12. They lost 8 of their last 9. 2002, last time the Raiders had a winning record. There is Pryor being held in that pocket as the flag comes down. Pryor throws on the run and incomplete. So that Bronco pass rush just keeping Pryor in place.
Offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Khalif Barnes picks up the holding flag. Well, there are Pryor's numbers in the first half. Had that one nice rush of 23 yards. So the numbers at 9 of 13. It's a better completion percentage than we've seen early on in the season. John, it's very hard with a quarterback who's still working on throwing motion and mechanics and handling stuff at the line. Down 30-7. Very difficult to see how they come back to make it respectable. Read option, Pryor keeping it. Outraces Derek Wolfe and slides down at the 23-yard line. There's another flag down.
Holding. Offense, number 45. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, first down.
You know what you want to see from Terrelle Pryor and his Oakland Raider football team? As we've heard, they're not the most talented team in the league. But here's an opportunity to finish the game with as much effort as you can. They call Marcel Reece for a holding call. Now you're backed up inside your own 10-yard line. Back-to-back holding calls. Not a good start by this Raider offense. And this crowd loves seeing their defense with a young quarterback in a backed-up situation with a 3-score lead.
From the 8, and just toss it to Jacoby Ford, trying to use his speed. And just speaking of speed, Wesley Woodyard chased down a very fast man in Ford at the 22.
Jacoby Ford is another Al Davis draft choice, and believe me, speed is an understatement. This is an 8-time NCAA All-American 100-meter champion out of Clemson. He's been hurt the last couple years, but number 12, Jacoby Ford, has a creative package of plays. When he's in the game, you better know where he is at all times.
Ford in his 4th year in the league was a 4th-round pick. McFadden's got nowhere to go. And Nate Irving and Danny Trevathan combine on the loss.
You know, a lot's been made about McFadden. He wants a gap blocking scheme. He doesn't want a zone blocking scheme. He just needs good blocking. Here you're going to see Woodyard, number 59, with help up front. No blocking. No chance. In another 3rd and long situation, they have spied Terrelle Pryor with speedy linebackers all night in these situations.
High snap over his head into the end zone. Pryor keeping the play alive. Can just throw it anywhere he wants at this point. It nearly intercepted on the sideline as Raheem Moore took out one of the Broncos personnel members who seems to be okay.
The high snap looked like Terrelle wasn't ready for it. And he does a good job of aborting the play. That's a horrible offensive series. Back-to-back penalties, a bad snap. And now Holiday has a chance to bury Oakland.
Marquette King punts again. Beautiful kick. There's a ton of room for Holiday. Very dangerous. Did Holiday from the 18. Illegal block. Will push him back. Jacob Tammy was hoping to get his headgear in front of the player, so it would not be called an illegal block. But he didn't, and most times that's an easy call for the officials, and multiple flags came down.
The young man is exciting, though. 5'5". You watch his highlight reel, Mike. It'll take you a while.
Lengthy conversation here from the officials. Let's see if it will be a flag and enforce in that spot. If there was another foul somewhere else. It's legit. Holiday's 5'5". Actually went down to the field to talk to him.
Oh.
I want to talk to somebody smaller than me for once.
Illegal block in the back. Number 84 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. 1st down, Denver. Timeout.
Something special. 6.5 to go here in the 3rd. Did some great work in this area this week. National Guard certainly helping the victims of the flood. Local community partnering to support shelters, evacuation centers. Red Cross volunteers are staffing shelters or evacuation centers at many locations throughout the state. Those National Guard members honored at halftime. You can help. redcross.org/NFL. Those Red Cross volunteers helping provide a safe place as people evacuated, blankets, cots, food, and comfort. And we certainly add our voice in the thoughts for so many people in this area who've been affected by the just terrible flash flooding that hit over the last week and a half. So after the penalty, the ball's marked at the 13-yard line. And Manning and the Broncos back to work with Ronnie Hillman. We'll take it out to the 18-yard line.
The whole first half, Denver was in their 11 personnel. 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide outs. They forced the Raiders to play nickel. Now these Broncos are using a 2 tight end set. They're forcing Oakland to play a base defense. Totally different way of attacking, and they stay on the gas pedal.
Manning's pass caught by Virgil Green, who's pulled down by Nick Roach at the 20. It'll be 3rd and short. So, John, with all these different personnel groupings, it allows Manning to dictate what to the defense?
Well, my big point, Mike, is if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're playing Denver next week, what do you want to prepare your players to do? You only have a couple days to prepare your team. Do you want to work on the 11 personnel packages in the no-huddle, the 12, the 13? How do you handle all of this football in terms of preparation in a short week?
This is 3 receivers for 3rd and 3. And you kind of get an idea what Manning's looking at. Lining up and loading up. Throwing down the middle, complete for the first down to Decker at the 35-yard line.
And just when you make a bad throw and you're inaccurate, you have a wide receiver that picks up the slack. Decker on a crossing route makes an excellent catch away from his body.
Gain of 15 for the man who was a terrific athlete in Minnesota. Record-setting receiver at Minnesota as Hillman runs for 5. Also drafted a couple of times Major League Baseball teams, Eric Decker. But, John, to the point you're making about Philly, okay, so Philly's watching this. They're preparing for what they're going to have to do here on Sunday against this team. But they see other teams that play all those personnel groupings as Manning completes it to Decker again, and Woodson holds on, but Decker keeps going. And that strength gets him the first down at the 45-yard line.
Look, Philadelphia is a no-huddle team. We saw them in week 1, but I only saw 7 or 8, maybe 10 different formations for the most part of the game. Okay. I've seen 100 different formations tonight, and they're doing it with so many different personnel units. I don't know what Philadelphia shows their defense on the practice field to prepare for.
So it's the volume of the stuff that they do out of these formations. Monte Ball is in the game. He runs for 6. Decker was fighting for yards and looked to be a bit hurt off the end of that last play. Here's what happened at the end of it. He's battling Woodson and then about 6 other Raiders.
Well, he refused to go down, and let's see what happened in this pile of bodies. Like his right leg got rolled up on.
Ball runs up the middle to the 37-yard line.
And here's Monte Ball. He's the all-time leading touchdown scorer in NCAA history. He's a young man trying to learn this no-huddle offense. Came in only averaging 2 yards a carry, and he looks fresh tonight. A lot of talent at every position on this Bronco roster.
The tight end Julius Thomas just went off, being looked at by the athletic training staff. Snap bounces back to Manning, who scoops it and fires incomplete, but a flag down. And taking a shot to Andre Caldwell, and DJ Hayden flagged in the coverage.
And they got the rookie that time. Hayden's got to learn to use his hands, be more physical on the line of scrimmage.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. Spot the foul. Automatic. First down.
It's an arm bar there, clearly. And a good call by the official.
Back to the 13-yard line, or up to the 13, I should say, as we're inside of 3 minutes here in the third. Wire-to-wire lead for Denver. Scored the first 17. Manning hit from behind, and the ball comes out free, and it's picked up by Jason Hunter. Lamar Houston with the pressure, and Hunter is tackled at the 30-yard line.
When you go in an empty backfield set this many times, you may have gone to the well one too many times. Top of the screen. Chris Clark gets beat by Lamar Houston. And man, did Oakland need that turnover.
There that you see Manning get hit like that and lose the ball. First turnover of the game.
Hey, Greg, check this.
The party's back on Arsenio.
Wait, what is going on? There's something you need to know.
The party's back on Arsenio.
That is beautiful.
The Dog Pounding Posse 2.0. The party's back on Arsenio. For the king of late night, there's one place to go. The party's back on Arsenio.
Let's get
So sit back tonight and enjoy yourself. Arsenio is back on
44 Cable 12.
Are you on drugs?
Edmunds.com said Accord's ride, comfort, and storage options are a step behind Altima. Actually, it's more like 3 steps. Nissan Altima with 38 mpg highway. Lease just $199 per month. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Kelly Blue Book says Nissan Rogue is designed to stand out from the competition. Bet Honda and Toyota never saw that coming. Nissan Rogue with class exclusive around view monitor. Save up to $3,000. Shop at ChooseNissan.com.
Hi, babe.
Oh, here you go.
I'll take care of you.
How was your day, honey?
Well, I had pancakes with my teddy, and then I went to school. And Billy was there, and Anna, and Katie. And then we painted a little bit, but then we got bored. And all I could think about was seeing this little sweet pea.
Some are just born to care for newborns.
He is such a little sweet pea.
Like the staff at Sutter Health, who partner with parents to deliver over 30,000 babies every year. It's another way we plus you.
Next Monday night, we have battle of undefeated teams as the Dolphins are heading down to New Orleans 3-0. Ryan Tannehill and company with the victory at home over Atlanta. And they'll see Drew Brees and the Saints. Monday night countdown starts at 6:30 Eastern, and then 8:25 back in the Superdome to see the Saints and the Dolphins. Good matchup of undefeated teams. New Orleans perhaps not a surprise to some. Miami to many a surprise. Rare fumble for Peyton Manning, just the 60th. In his career, he had averaged one every 3.8 starts. The best rate among NFL quarterbacks with over 100 starts since Joe Namath. So it's very rare that we see Manning take a hit like that, John, and lose the ball.
Yeah, Chris Clark's done a nice job at left tackle for Clady. But here Lamar Houston does a nice job with his hands and beats him on a speed rush. That'll be a young man, Chris Clark, that will be scrutinized as much as any Denver Bronco in the next couple months. He has some huge shoes to fill. But he's done some very good things tonight.
So it took 11 quarters, nearly 11, for the Raiders to get a takeaway. They were along with Pittsburgh as the teams that were searching for that first one. Pryor taking a shot downfield, and it's out of the field of play for Denarius Moore, incomplete.
You know who number 45 is, don't you, Mike?
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
He's an interesting man. He struggled for 2 years in Philadelphia. John Fox brings him to Denver, and he's playing better. They've given him some tough love here. They told him what he didn't do well in Philly. You didn't cover well enough. You didn't tackle well enough. You didn't play to your standards. And he's responded with the injury to Champ Bailey, the injury to Tony Carter in the first quarter. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie can really help Denver.
Speaking of injuries in their secondary, Dookie Iheanacho, the safety, had that right ankle injury as Pryor takes time out. Iheanacho had that right ankle injury against the Giants. He's out for the rest of the game with an ankle injury. It has been lonely lately, but they remain loyal. These Raider fans who've seen his team. They'll tie Detroit for the worst record in the last decade in the NFL, barring a miraculous comeback here with an offense that is just having trouble getting plays run in the second half. Not ready for this stage. 3rd and 5. Pressure coming up the middle. Pryor puts it up, and it's caught for the first down. That's Michael Rivera, the tight end, taking it into Bronco territory at the 45.
That's an NFL quarterback play by Terrelle Pryor. The blitz is on. It's coming from the field. And you're going to see Pryor throw this ball with nice touch and anticipation to Rivera, the rookie from Tennessee. But I like the young tight end. I like what Terrelle Pryor has done from the pocket. They just need more consistency in terms of their pass protection.
Rivera will get a lot of run. David Osbury, the starting tight end, put on injured reserve today. He's done for the year. Run up the middle for McFadden. No gain.
Darren McFadden has not had any looks running the football tonight. 10 carries for 8 yards. Contract year. Only has 700 yards last year, just 3.3 yards per carry. And McFadden has played his best football in his career against Denver, but that has not been the case tonight.
He, Marcel Reece, and Tyvon Branch, they are the longest tenured active Raiders. 2nd and 10, and Pryor throwing wide open for the first down, and more is Bryce Butler, 4th career catch for this 7th round pick out of San Diego State, late of USC.
When you get speed, use it. And this time, watch Jacoby Ford clear out this deep zone for his teammate Bryce Butler on a deep cross. I remember Al Davis brought me a young man, James Jett, out of West Virginia. He said, here's some speed, use it. And we used to send him down the field just like that. And Tim Brown sure appreciated it. Nice work by the Raider receiving corps.
Pryor's looked decent throwing from the pocket tonight, John. You know, better than we'd seen in some of the earlier games. McFadden might throw. Did it a bunch at Arkansas. Will throw. And it's a touchdown to Marcel Reece. So Darren McFadden, who threw 7 touchdowns in his days as a Hog at Arkansas, throws one there to Reece to put the Raiders in the end zone.
Bunch crunch. They run the bunch crunch. Now they throw the halfback pass off it. And watch Reece act like a blocker. He bluffs the block and he slips right into the seam area. And McFadden, who had a completion last week, just threw another touchdown pass. But Marcel Reece, a jack of all trades, finishes the drive. And I like the way the Raiders keep fighting on offense with Terrelle Pryor at quarterback.
You had mentioned that he threw a pass last week. It was incomplete. That his first completion in the National Football League. And I mentioned when McFadden was down there with Felix Jones and company running the Wildcat at Arkansas, Wild Hog is what they called it. He had those 7 touchdown passes on the 14 completions and gets his first one in the NFL there for a touchdown.
I think it goes back to Greg Olsen. Find a way to move the football. We might not have all the talent, all the skill that Denver has. That doesn't mean Greg Olsen is going to put his hands on his head and sulk. He's going to find ways to move the football. And if he has to run a halfback pass from a running formation, so be it. But I like the competitive spirit of this Raider offense, down 30-7, and march the ball right down the field. Good work by them.
John, this is a very interesting time. If we go back to what the Raiders were going to be, even in March when Olsen gets this job and he's making his planning is that Carson Palmer is going to be his quarterback. But they want Palmer to take a salary cut. They decide to trade him once they get Matt Flynn, and you talked about that earlier. Flynn, who was beaten out by Russell Wilson in Seattle, gets this starting job, but he loses it in preseason to Pryor. So now you're planning a Carson Palmer offense. Wait, no, it's not going to be that. It's going to be a Matt Flynn offense. Nope. Now it's a Pryor offense, and replan that with a week or two before the season starts.
And I'm sure Greg Olsen would rather run the Peyton Manning offense. You know, there's a lot of coaches out there that are envious of what Peyton Manning has.
Right.
But there's a lot of coaches like Greg Olsen that are scratching and fighting and clawing to make first downs. I used to call plays. Sometimes I knew we were going to score. Then I started calling plays, you know what, let's just try to get a first down. And sometimes that's how Greg Olsen has to call plays with the beat-up offensive line, the young receivers, and a quarterback that has little to no experience.
He's learning on the job. Greg said as much to us last night. And
he's getting better.
Pryor knows it, too. He was very honest about where he is in his development. So a 16-point game. Pressure off the edge. The Manning pass is caught as he threw it the other way to Thomas. And in the open field, Tracy Porter pulls him down. And that'll bring this third quarter to an end, except Porter slow to get up for the Raiders. And the training staff will come out to look at him. So Porter, who was here with the Broncos last year, and one of those many additions to this Raider defense. He played for Dennis Allen when Allen was the secondary coach on that Saints team that went to the Super Bowl. And they look at Porter, and we'll step out for a moment. Peyton Manning's played a season's worth of games on Monday Night Football. His record's 12-4. Perhaps on the way to win 13. His team leads by 16 as the fourth quarter begins in Denver. Starts with a 2nd and 6, and it's a run with Monte Ball. Try to turn the corner, but Kevin Burnett brings him down shy of the first down. So Peyton Manning continues to extend his record, 75 career games with 300 or more passing yards. 70 is next on the list. That's Drew Brees, who we'll see a week from tonight against the Dolphins.
Super. We're 20.
On 3rd and 1, Ball trying to jump back in the hole. That's a good hard run to pick up the first down away from Kevin Burnett and keep the drive going.
That's what a running back has to do in this league. If you want to be a professional back, convert 3rd and 1s and be your own blocker. Excellent work by Ball. And this is the time Charles Woodson, this Raiders secondary, somebody needs to create another turnover.
Shoveled the ball. Does a good job fighting back now. Ball gets out to the 35-yard line. He had a fumble last week. And you're always watching the rookie players and how they come back, especially in an offense where you throw it more than you run it, and there are 3 good options to run it. So any mistake, it's magnified.
He never knows the play until 5 seconds before the ball snap.
Manning. Slot shot. Welker to the 33-yard line. Gain of 32.
Everybody talks about Welker being an intermediate route runner. He has deceptive vertical speed, and if you sit on him, he'll go right by you. He's a very good seam runner, especially when the ball is on the money.
Welker closing in on 100 yards. He has 84 now. Back to the ground, and Ronnie Hillman gets a chance. Fresh legs, Hillman to the 21. The safeties, Woodson and Ross on the tackle.
Well, the Raiders aren't disguising anymore. They're just standing back there static. 2 deep safeties. It's a soft box. Manning says, I'm going to run the ball. I don't see Oakland disguising their looks like they talked about coming into this football game. Nice job by Woodson in the open field, but if you're going to play that loose, he'll run the ball right at you.
For the 20s, right back to the run, John. It's just counting and keep counting on the scoreboard. Hillman to the goal line, just shy. Half yard away from 6.
Yeah, you can blame the altitude. You can blame the tempo. You can also say that Denver is taking it to the Raiders. Safeties are deep. They're not a factor in the running game. This time Manning dials up a draw play. Excellent work on the second level by Manny Ramirez and Hillman, Ball, Moreno. 3 different kinds of backs that all run the ball very well between the tackles, and they all have perimeter speed.
Mitch Unrein, who caught a short kickoff earlier, is in at fullback. And Peyton's going to take a timeout here as the play clock is running down. Up 16, a yard away from adding some more.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars and find the best deal on Autotrader.com. And NFL Game Rewind. Relive every game online in HD at NFL.com/Game Rewind.
Over on Colfax Avenue here in Denver, they've been striking coins for over a century at the Denver Mint, branch of the U.S. Mint. This has been a Mint performance again from Manning. Unrein, the defensive lineman, leading the way, and Ronnie Hillman working over the plane and in for the touchdown.
A lot of shifting, a lot of irregular movement there, but why wouldn't you run behind your right tackle, Orlando Franklin? He's a difference maker as a run blocker and a really good pass protector, but once again, it's good traffic running by Hillman, second-year man from San Diego State.
The Raiders were saying that he was down, but his legs were laying on other bodies. So no body part on the ground. It's another 80-yard drive, and the Broncos over 500 yards here tonight. And it's 37-14. Well, you see great athletes towards the end of their career as they get on in time. I talked to Peyton about what is it that he still has the drive at 37 to taste titles one more time.
When you have tasted it, you certainly enjoy it, but you want to taste it again, and you know that you can. And I still feel very fortunate at 37 to still be playing and really playing, really competing and being a part of it, not just hanging on. I always, said as soon as I'm just hanging on or just playing just to fulfill a certain amount of years, that's when I'll be out. But I still feel like I'm a part of something. We got a good group of guys. I got a coach that I really enjoy playing for. He's fun to play for. And then I've had just a major life-changing, career-changing event, these past 2 years with this injury, with this change of teams. I have children now, and so my life really has changed, and it's just given me a new peace and direction and kind of an inspiration. And but I am enjoying it.
And it's interesting to watch, John, how the perspective changes as John Fox goes tell Brock Osweiler, get rid of the earpiece. You may get a chance to get in the game here next time around.
I'd like to be Brock Osweiler walking around with Peyton Manning and John Elway. Let's see what this young slinger has.
Seen enough of what Manning can do here. Ford choosing to bring it out from 7 deep, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line. I had asked Manning that question about his desire to still go here at this point in his career, covering the other sports during the year, seeing Roger Federer as he tries to get back to the top, and he's not what he once was, and Kobe Bryant off the Achilles injury, and Tiger Woods, all these great champions who their maximum days are behind them in terms of amount that they're going to continue to play. They're getting towards the end of their careers, but they still want it, and that's what I see in Manning, the similar quality in all those players who've been champions. They only know one way to go about it, and you really appreciate watching Manning. Every detail is appreciated and covered. Pryor sacked, loss of 6.
This is where Terrelle Pryor and his Oakland Raider offense does not want to be. This is uncharted water for them. In an obvious passing situation, pressure is going to come right off the left side. You see Khalif Barnes, 69, working against Ayers.
Second sack of the season for Ayers. John, here's a guy who was taken 8 picks ahead of Clay Matthews in the draft, and people wanted to know why didn't he have the same production as people talked about him coming out of Tennessee. All the guys on this defense going to get a chance to add to their stats this year. Bryce Butler on the edge with the catch and out to the 24-yard line.
I tell you, who needs a lot of credit is Jack Del Rio. It's been 8 years since the Broncos have had the same defensive coordinator in back-to-back seasons. Last year, all he did was take Denver from the 24th scoring defense to number 2. They lead the NFL in third down. He's great with veteran players. He's great developing young defenders. And he has not had an offense like he has now where he can unleash some of his favorite blitzes.
And Broncos just had to take a timeout. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie was coming off after an injury, and the Broncos are down to their last healthy defensive back. Broncos and Mile High United Way teamed up with Playtime Scholastic, developing a play and read room at Greenlee Elementary School. It's one of the state's highest need communities. 90% Latino families are served there, and great opportunity to bring some interactive play equipment, get the students a voucher for a book going forward. Some of the great outreach that has happened in this community and other communities around the league as the NFL, the Broncos, all pitch in to honor Hispanic Heritage Month. Out of the Denver timeout, this is 3rd and 7 for Terrelle Pryor. And Pryor's pass completed to Denarius Moore, who's down at the 40 for a first down. Rodgers-Cromartie coming back in now, John.
When you're playing with your 4th right corner, let's go right over there, and that's what Pryor did. Omar Bolden looked lost, and Moore was wide open in the middle of the field. Here's Cromartie back in the game. That's a good sign.
From the 40, Pryor a shot downfield for Rod Streeter, and the pass is incomplete and contested by Kevon Webster, who came into a corner role when Tony Carter was hurt earlier in the game.
Boy, Oakland's doing a great job in pass protection, chipping these defensive ends. Take a look at the chip block on Sean Phillips, this pass rusher. It's no fun. rushing the quarterback as a wide pass rusher against these Raiders. They're going to extreme measures to help their tackles. Pashos out of football last year. Khalif Barnes, normally a right tackle. They've gotten some nice help from tight ends and backs tonight.
Pashos and Barnes were a starting tackle tandem in Jacksonville 5 years ago. Nice job by Reece to avoid the initial hit by Kayvon Webster and advance it to the 47, where it will be 3rd and 3.
This is where I don't know what to tell Kayvon Webster. You know, we're all talking about player safety, and I'm at the forefront of it, but Pryor throws this right into coverage, and it looked to me like Webster didn't know what to do. That's how people get hurt and these big collisions occur. A lot of the time it's because the quarterback throws the ball into coverage, and the contact is inevitable.
Third down, Pryor tossing back shoulder, caught by Moore. And Denarius Moore with the first down into Bronco territory at the 36.
Let me tell you, Oakland Raider fans, this young quarterback is showing me something tonight. That time, it's bump and run coverage, and he's going to set up and throw a back shoulder fake from the pocket. That's the 6th throw that Terrelle Pryor has been on the money with from the pocket, and we all know he can hurt you bad with his running ability. He's becoming a double-edged sword, just what this franchise needs.
Moore over 100 yards. He has half of the prior 244 tonight. And here he goes again. Only a gain of a couple yards. We went through it in the first half, but I think we need to go back for folks with Terrelle Pryor, because he hasn't been on national TV since right around New Year's in 2011 when Ohio State went to the Sugar Bowl. And you remember the whole tattoo scandal and merchandise being sold for tattoos, and Jim Tressel out at Ohio State, players suspended. And Pryor was suspended for 5 games, and that's why he left and went in the supplemental draft. And Roger Goodell, the commissioner in the NFL, honored the 5-game NCAA suspension. And Pryor was on the sidelines for the first 5 NFL games of his career. So no training camp, in late, and then missed the first 5 of that rookie season. There's a throw on the run. It's caught by Streeter. And Rod Streeter's inside the 10 to the 7-yard line.
What do you want to see him do, Mike? I mean, that's as good as it gets. A lot of people wish he was a better drop-back passer, but he's under duress. They don't even touch Terrence Knight, and he blows out of there to his right, makes a beautiful throw. I like what Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, said last night. I'm just happy for the talents that Terrelle Pryor has, and I'm going to accentuate them the best I can. But it's a real credit to this Raider offense, the way they've competed. Down 37-14.
Gonna have to go quick here as you see the play clock. Marcel Reece was trying to tell Pryor just that. He'll read it and throw it incomplete, with Moore contesting it over at the sideline.
After studying Terrelle in the preseason, he threw 2 horrible interceptions in the scoring zone. That time he does the wise thing. He throws the ball away. Everything is going to be a learning procedure for Terrelle. It's frustrating at times when you're a coordinator and a head coach and you have visions of some of the things you want to do, and you're seeing Peyton Manning on the other side of the field, but progress has been made at the quarterback position tonight.
Pryor designed to run. That is that spy look by Woodyard. Pryor took a hard shot and down on the field as he bounces back up after that big hit.
That's the controversy that surrounds all of these running quarterbacks. You're going to run a direct draw play with a quarterback into a blitz. Listen to it. They're taking hits on their throwing shoulder, and wow. You better have a lot of quarterbacks.
The challenge flag has been thrown here by the Broncos. Pryor's knee was very close to down as Danny Trevathan pulled it away. And John Fox throwing the challenge flag here with 6:09 to go.
Denver is challenged to rule the field of down by contact.
And the Broncos took the ball the other way and went down towards a score. They wouldn't get that, but they would get the ball if it's determined in replay that it's out before his knee is down. We'll take a close look at it. Well, Terrelle Pryor is okay after that hard hit he took, and he's on the field trying to call a play. Meantime, Jerome Boger has had a look at this. Looks like the knee is just starting to touch the top of the grass as the ball is moved. We'll see if this one stands. Here's Jerome.
After reviewing the play, the runner's right knee was down at the 8-yard line prior to the ball coming loose. It will be Oakland's ball, 4th down at the 8-yard line. Denver is charged their last timeout.
I think more importantly, as you said, Mike, Pryor is okay. Denver came after him with a full blitz. Pryor didn't read it. Let's see what the Broncos do on 3rd and goal.
And likely insignificant, but Denver, no timeout, so they can't challenge here in the last 4:09 up until the 2-minute warning when all the reviews happen upstairs.
And if I'm Dennis Allen, Greg Olson, I want to make sure I get out of here with a healthy Terrelle Pryor on a short week with the Redskins coming to town next week. This is where it's hard for any young quarterback, Mike. Obvious passing situations in the red zone in the National Football League. Strange coverages, tight windows, and the playbook from an offensive standpoint changes because of the short field.
You heard Boger say 4th down. It was corrected as 3rd and goal. Empty backfield with a 4-man rush. Pryor throws it quick underneath. Rod Streeter is stopped a yard and a half shy of the goal line, and under 6, the Raiders are going to go for it. Right at the 1.
It's a common pattern in this Raider offense. They clear out with the tight end. They bring Streeter underneath, and he does a nice job getting north and south after the catch. Here comes some big bodies for the Oakland Raiders, and John Fox and Jack Del Rio loaded up.
Jaron Mastru, the tight end, comes in. 4th and 1, bit of confusion, and the Raiders are going to have to take a timeout. So a 4th and goal coming up with the margin in the game right now, 23. Raiders going for it on 4th and goal. Blitz comes, Pryor throws, it is incomplete. Denarius Moore couldn't hold it. The Broncos will take over with 5:29 to go.
Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie in an all-out blitz has one-on-one coverage with no help, and he shuts Denarius Moore down. Cromartie was off to a great start in Arizona as a corner. Disappeared the last couple years in Philadelphia, and if they get this young man playing to his potential with Champ Bailey returning, that'll be nice.
12 plays, 78 yards, nothing to show for it, and perhaps because they're backed up to the 1-yard line, Peyton Manning remains in the game as they talk to Pryor on the sideline. And Monte Ball working it off the goal line, and ball is taken out to the 9.
Peyton Manning, he refuses to give Brock Osweiler any reps in practice, and he doesn't give many reps in a game. And I asked Tom Moore, his old offensive coordinator in Indianapolis one year, why don't you give the backup quarterbacks any reps? He says, why would we want to practice without Peyton Manning? But Osweiler is waiting his turn patiently, but this poor young guy, he can't even get a sniff. Loves to play.
Ball first down. Goes out of bounds over there at the 16-yard line with 4:40 to go. John, there's going to be a lot of talk as this offense continues to go. If they continue at the pace they have the first 3 weeks, about the group around Peyton Manning. Is it the best? It's so hard to compare groups, but certainly the versatility because of the presence of the tight ends, the multiple running backs, veteran receiver in the slot like Welker, as Pryor looks to be being taken back for what I would assume would be a concussion evaluation at this point. Although he came in to play those last 2 plays. Ball gains a couple to the 19. And John, they've scored, what, 127 points here in the first 3 games. And historically in the NFL, that ties for second. 1966, 1968 Cowboys. You know the quarterback of those teams were?
Who?
Give you a hint. It has something to do with your job. Monday Night Football.
Don Meredith.
Dandy Don.
Turn out the lights. I can't sing like him, but.
In 1968 season, as you look at John Elway, it was Meredith's final season. And then a couple of years later in the Monday Night booth. Manning on the throw is caught. What a grab by Denarius Thomas in a dangerous spot. It will move the chains with 3:49 to go.
You know, last year the Broncos obviously eliminated by the Ravens on the misjudged play by Raheem Moore, their safety. And the young man took a lot of criticism, but when you spend time here, Peyton Manning and this offense took responsibility for the loss. They had a chance in this 4-minute offense to run out the clock and not give the ball back to the Ravens. And all this work you're seeing right now with these tight ends and this running game, they're working on closing the door in the playoffs with a strong running game.
Ball figures to be a part of that. Well, they took him in the 2nd round out of Wisconsin. As he goes to the 33 as we dive under 3 minutes left. Yeah, this will be 13 consecutive regular season victories, 14 I should say, for the Broncos. Tying the mark that they set back in 1997. That was in 98 was the year they opened 13-0, won their last regular season game the prior year, and then started the season 13-0. Like 15 years ago. Ball is out on the fumble. It's picked up. Ball put it on the ground, and Mike Jenkins stopped, flipped it forward to Ross, and he stopped there at the 15-yard line. So the turnover by the Broncos.
Back-to-back weeks, Ball has fumbled, and that.
After the interception recovery, illegal forward pass, return team number 29, 5-yard penalty. Oakland keeps the ball. First down.
Kevin Burnett forced it out. So you said it, John, last week. It was a fumble by Ball.
That'll keep him on the bench. When you're a young back, you have to take advantage of your carries, but you must take care of the ball. And that's the 4-minute drill we were just talking about. The only enemy is the clock. We're working on our running game and eliminating time by pounding the ball.
And Eric Studeville, who came in and finished up when Josh McDaniels was fired here, he stayed. He's the running back coach and talking with Ball there now about exactly that. So because of the prior injury, and we saw him go up the tunnel, it is Matt Flynn, who was signed to be the starter here, but beaten out by Pryor in the preseason. Former Seahawk and Packer checks in. And this is a very different offense with Flynn, whose pass is incomplete, to Denarius Moore. 2:13 to go. So Matt Flynn signed free agent contracts and was beaten out in back-to-back preseasons. Russell Wilson in Seattle last year. So then the Seahawks trade Flynn to the Raiders. And he's supposed to be the #1 guy. Elbow problems also have been talked about as to why he didn't throw it as well, but performed very poorly in the preseason, which opened the door for Pryor to win the job. And now Flynn is the #2, making $6.5 million this year. Here's his pass, caught by Marcel Reece, who's down to the 1.
I like Marcel Reece. Can play like a tight end, an H-back. That time he's a fullback coming out of the backfield. And let's hope Reece is okay. Looks like he hurt his shoulder there on contact.
2-minute warning here in Denver. Raiders are at the 1, down by 23. With a shot of the moon here over the Denver area. And so many folks have had such a difficult time because of the weather and the recent flooding here. redcross.org/NFL, your opportunity to help. And our salute to the people of Colorado who are banding together for many of their neighbors in the Boulder area who have been displaced. Still some folks unaccounted for. 7 fatalities. 6,000 people evacuated from their homes. So we applaud the Broncos, Pat Bowlen, the owner, and the NFL for their efforts to help. It's his first and goal for Matt Flynn, and he hands to McFadden, who is stuck at the line of scrimmage by Nate Irving.
Darren McFadden has had no chance tonight. You're going to see Nate Irving and you're going to see Wesley Woodyard attack McFadden, and neither one of them are really accounted for. 4th time tonight, McFadden has been stuffed behind a line of scrimmage. These Denver linebackers are instinctive, quick, and contact players.
McFadden's had some good games here over the years, but not tonight.
Halfback pass.
Oh, McFadden thinking of throwing, going to try to keep it, put it out, and hit the pylon. Touchdown.
That's a design halfback pass, and Rivera wasn't open. Imagine calling 2 halfback passes in the same game. See if he scored.
Yep. All good. Get a piece of that pylon before going out of bounds.
Great work by Darren McFadden, who's had very little chance to run tonight.
Clearly a score and confirmed. And the Raiders will try to kick the extra point to make it 37-21. And Janikowski does that. 16-point game with $1:15 to go. McFadden has thrown a touchdown and run one in on this night. Hey, tomorrow night on ESPN, SEC Storied, which is a series that chronicles some great stories over the SEC's days. There's a great one on the first family of football, the Book of Manning. It's a lot about the upbringing. There's some great never-before-seen footage from the beginnings in New Orleans, tracking Archie and Eli through their days in Oxford, Mississippi, and Peyton in Knoxville. So the Book of Manning's tomorrow night on ESPN. I always loved doing the college football games, going down to Oxford, Mississippi, and the Ole Miss campus, and the speed limit's 18 because that was Archie's number. And Eli followed in his dad's footsteps, and Peyton's done a great job wearing Frank Tripucca's number, who was one of the original Bronco quarterbacks who recently passed away. That number was retired, and Peyton spoke with Tripucca and the family and honored him by wearing it, and had some great words to say about Tripucca when he passed away last week.
Special quarterback, special family. I can't wait to see that Manning show.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good.
I'm probably on there getting shredded by all of them.
You think? Not Archie. I don't think Archie got you.
I don't think he did. He might have stepped on me, though, in a hotel. No, those doggone Mannings. So Eli Manning finds his groove in a hurry. I'd like to have John Elway and Peyton Manning walking around your hallway. You'd do a lot worse than that, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Onside kick attempt by the Raiders is caught by the Broncos, and that should bring business officially to a close. Denarius Thomas on the go up and get it tonight. Well, John Elway had a real crushing playoff loss and then came back and went to 2 Super Bowls, winning them. He was 38 and a half, let's say, when they won that Super Bowl, the oldest to win a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. So there's Peyton at another 100 or so days. He's going to be a little bit shy of 38 when Super Bowl Sunday rolls around at MetLife Stadium. And a chance to be right behind Elway there, and hoping that the disappointing playoff loss from one year, which led to 2 Super Bowl championships for Elway, is the pattern followed after last year's disappointing loss in the playoffs to Baltimore here.
And Manning is still out there with his teammates. Brock Osweiler can't even go out and enjoy the victory play. But this is why you play football. If you're Peyton Manning, you want to share these moments with your teammates. A good work week is over with an impressive victory.
He'll move to 157 and 70 in his career. The Broncos will go to 3-0 and tie a franchise record with 14 consecutive regular season wins. And Philadelphia comes out here Sunday, and there are two guys who were 1-2 for the Heisman Trophy back a decade and a half ago. The Raiders will fall to 1-2, and they play the winless Redskins in Oakland on Sunday, and follow that with a game against the Chargers. So the Raiders,
Good luck to you, man. Good player, man.
as we said, fall to 1-2. The 3-0 teams in the AFC are New England, Miami, Andy Reid's Kansas City crew here in the West, and Denver, and Chicago, Seattle in the NFC, along with New Orleans. And we'll see the undefeated Saints and the undefeated Dolphins next Monday night from New Orleans. With Lisa Salters, John Gruden, and all the great women and men on our Monday night team. From Denver, Mike Tirico, good night. Broncos 37, Raiders 21. Full recap coming up next on SportsCenter.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.